A very good morning and welcome to Today in Parliament with me, Aishwarya Kapoor. Here are the headlines. Bill seeking to protect rights of married Muslim women in Lok Sabha. Law Minister to move for consideration and passing of the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Bill 2018. Bill declares the triple talaq as illegal, provides for 3 years in jail. Home Minister's statement on calling attention over devastations caused by cyclones Gaja and Titli in the upper house. In Lok Sabha, discussion under Rule 193 on natural calamities slated. And 2 bills related to education sector reform slated in the Rajya Sabha. Bill seeking to allow proxy voting for overseas Indians and preventing trafficking of persons, especially women and children, also on agenda in the upper house. It is the 8th day of the winter session of Parliament and there is a heavy legislative agenda slated in the upper house today. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will lay a statement showing the supplementary demands for grants 2018-19 in the upper house. Apart from this, Home Minister Rajnath Singh will make a statement in the House in response to the calling attention matter raised by Dr. V. Maitrian on the situation arising due to devastation caused by cyclones Gaja and Titli in some states and the action taken by the government. Apart from this, in the government's legislative agenda are 2 bills on education sector reforms, including the National Council for Teacher Education Amendment Bill 2018 and the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Amendment Bill 2018. The Representation of the People Amendment Bill 2018 and the Trafficking of Persons Prevention and Protection and Rehabilitation Bill 2018 are also listed on the agenda in the upper house. And in the lower house today are crucial bills slated for introduction, consideration and passage. These are the Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Bill 2018 for consideration and passage, the Indian Medical Council Amendment Bill 2018, the National Trust for the Welfare of Persons with Autism, Cerebral Palsy, Mental Retardation and Multiple Disabilities Amendment Bill 2018 and the Consumer Protection Bill 2018. Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will introduce the Companies Amendment Bill 2018 and give a statement showing a reason for promulgating the Companies Amendment Ordinance 2018. He will also present a statement showing the supplementary demands for grants, a second batch for 2018-19. And the lower house is also slated to take up the bill to make the practice of triple talaq among Muslims a penal offence. It was introduced on Monday. The Muslim Women Protection of Rights on Marriage Bill 2018 was introduced to replace the ordinance that was issued in September. The bill seeks to protect the rights of married Muslim women and to prohibit divorce by pronouncing talaq by their husbands. It makes all declaration of talaq, including in written or electronic form, to be void and illegal. It also makes declaration of talaq a cognizable offence, attracting up to 3 years imprisonment with a fine. In the Lok Sabha, discussion under Rule 193 is listed. Bhartrihari Mahtab and P. Venugopal will raise a discussion on natural calamities in various parts of the country, particularly in Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Odisha, with special reference to cyclones like Gaja and Titli. Well, our reporter Kriti Mishra is now joining us live from Parliament. Kriti, any indications of a patch-up yet? Or will Rajya Sabha, take this stalemate into the Christmas break?
Well, Aishwarya, you may recall that Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu has already clarified that he would allow discussion on all the issues according to relevant rules and the procedures of the House. You saw that yesterday also there was a short duration discussion that was moved, that was expected to be initiated by Leader of Opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad, but due to disruptions over the Kaveri River and also Rafale, the House could not transact business. Now today, as you said, important bills are lined up. There's the NCTE bill for granting retrospective recognitions to institutions who are not covered, that are not covered presently under the law. This is a one-time measure to ensure that the future of students enrolled in such institutions is not jeopardized. There's also the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Bill to extend the deadline to acquire prescribed qualification. There's also the Representation of People Amendment Bill so that the overseas electors can appoint proxies to cast their votes. And there's also very important anti-trafficking bill to prevent instances of trafficking, especially as far as the women and children are concerned. And you've also seen that Finance Minister Arun Jaitley is also expected to table the supplementary demand for grants. So certainly a very important day in the Rajya Sabha, but it remains to be seen whether disruptions continue to stall the proceedings of the House. Aishwarya?
Absolutely. So barring just one day when two bills were passed, the upper house has hardly been able to, transact any business. As far as the Lok Sabha is concerned, Kriti, Prime Minister Modi's favorite social reform agenda, the triple talaq bill, is, expected to face the floor test in Lok Sabha. What can we expect?
Well, Aishwarya, you may recall that the Supreme Court struck down the practice of triple talaq in August 2017. It said the practice of triple talaq is unconstitutional and violates the fundamental rights of Muslim women. The Supreme Court had also asked the government to legislate a law on this governing marriage and divorce in the Muslim community. We've also seen that in the earlier sessions also the government brought this bill, and also on Monday we saw that a fresh bill was tabled in the Lok Sabha. In fact, the government had also issued an ordinance. Remember, even after the triple talaq practice was banned by Supreme Court, there were more than 248 cases, and since January 2017 there have been more than 400 cases. So the government has tried to bring all the political parties on board, but it remains to be seen whether this crucial pro-women bill sees the light of day in the Lok Sabha. Aishwarya?
Right, Kriti. Thank you so much for all those updates there from Parliament. Union Minister Maneka Gandhi is slated to move the Trafficking of Persons Prevention, Protection and Rehabilitation Bill 2018 in the Rajya Sabha today. The bill seeks to prevent trafficking of persons, especially women and children. It also seeks to provide care, protection and rehabilitation to the victims of trafficking and to prosecute offenders. It provides for the establishment of investigation and rehabilitation authorities at the district, state and the national level. Anti-trafficking units will be established to rescue victims and to investigate the cases of trafficking. It has been passed by the Lok Sabha. In HRD, Minister Prakash Javadekar is slated to move the right of children to free and compulsory education amendment bill 2018 in the upper house. This bill seeks to further amend the Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act of 2009. It has already been passed by the Lok Sabha. HRD Minister Prakash Javadekar is also slated to move the National Council for Teacher Education Amendment Bill 2018 in the Rajya Sabha. This bill seeks to further amend the National Council for Teacher Education Act of 1993. It has been passed by the Lok Sabha. And Law Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad is slated to move the Representation of the People Amendment Bill 2018 in the Rajya Sabha. The bill seeks to further amend the Representation of the People Act 1950 and the Representation of the People Act 1951 to allow for proxy voting and to make certain provisions of the Act gender neutral. It has been passed by the Lok Sabha. In the Rajya Sabha, Sushma Swaraj is slated to move for leave to withdraw the Nalanda University Amendment Bill 2013. The bill seeks to amend the Nalanda University Act of 2010. And in the other legislative business in the Lok Sabha, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will move the Companies Amendment Bill 2018. The bill seeks to further amend the Companies Act of 2013. He will also lay on the table a statement showing reasons for immediate legislation by promulgation of the Companies Amendment Ordinance 2018. And also in the lower house are the following bills. The Health Minister JP Nadda will move the Indian Medical Council Amendment Bill 2018. The bill seeks to further amend the Indian Medical Council Act of 1956. Ram Vilas Paswan is slated to move the Consumer Protection Bill 2018. The bill seeks to provide for the protection of the interests of consumers and to establish authorities for timely and effective administration and settlement of consumers' disputes. Thawar Chand Gehlot will move the National Trust for Welfare of Persons with Autism, Cerebral Palsy, Mental Retardation and Multiple Disabilities Amendment Bill 2018. It seeks to amend the National Trust for Welfare of Persons with Autism, Cerebral Palsy, Mental Retardation and Multiple Disabilities Act 1999. It has been passed by the Rajya Sabha. And the following ministers will lay papers on the table in the Rajya Sabha today. Jitendra Singh for the Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, Department of Space and Department of Atomic Energy. Hardeep Singh Puri for Ministry of Housing and Urban Affairs. Ramdas Athavale for the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. V.K. Singh for the Ministry of External Affairs. Krishan Pal for the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment. And Satyapal Singh for the Ministry of Human Resource Development. That's it in this edition of Today in Parliament. Do stay tuned. The proceedings of the Upper House are going to commence in a short while from now. Thanks for watching.